Hi, we have seen electric field. Before that, we have seen the principle of superposition and Coulomb's law. Now, we look at a way of representing electric field around charges. Okay, so we have already defined the electric field. In the case of a single point charge, which is situated at the origin, the electric field is given by this 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square. Okay, this unit vector r that shows the direction of the electric field. So the electric field, its magnitude is 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q charge over r square. R is the distance from the point charge. So the magnitude or the strength of the electric field decreases with the square of the distance. So it can be sketched. We know electric field is a vector, so we can sketch it or we can represent it using these arrows originating from the charge q that is shown here. The vectors, when we represent a quantity in vector notation, we know the length of the arrow that gives the magnitude of the vector, and the direction, the arrow head that represents the direction of the vector. So we know the electric field is decreasing with the electric field is decreasing with the distance. Okay, electric field is inversely proportional to the square of the distance. So we see, as we represent the electric field, we need vectors which decreases in length. Okay, so here near the charge we have a vector of this length, and as we move away from the charge, the length of the vector decreases, the length of the arrow decreases. And the same way, it is in radial direction, everywhere it is in radial direction around the charge. So this is how we represent the electric field vector around a charge. Now there is a it is written here, the electric field falls off, it decreases as 1 by r square. So the vectors get shorter. Okay, the vectors are getting shorter as we move away, as we go farther away from the origin. And the direction, as I told you, it is pointing radially outwards, the unit vector r, that is radially outwards. So this is one way of representing the electric field around a point charge. A better way to represent the field is by using field lines. Okay, so we can represent it by using field lines. So this is how we represent the electric field around a charge plus q charge using electric field lines. Okay, so here instead of representing the field using vectors, vectors or arrows which become shorter, okay, as we move farther away from the origin, we have lines. Okay, we have lines showing the direction of the with arrows showing the direction of the electric field. Now let's look at the electric field lines in detail. So what are electric field lines? Electric field lines are imaginary lines. Okay, they are imaginary lines or curves through a region of empty space, through a region, so that its tangent at any point is in the direction of the electric field vector at that point. So this is very important. The tangent at any point is in the direction of the electric field vector at that point. So when we draw the electric field lines, we have to draw it in such a way that the tangent to it gives you the direction of the electric field vector. Another important idea is the relative closeness of the lines. Relative closeness, how they are together, or what is the separation between the lines. That is what is meant by this relative closeness. The relative closeness of the lines at some place gives an idea about the intensity of the electric field at that point. Okay. So when we draw the electric field lines around a charge to represent the electric field, we have to draw it. These are all imaginary lines. We have to draw it in such a way that the tangent gives the direction of the electric field at any point. Similarly, the relative closeness of the lines, how close they are or how far they are apart, that gives you an idea about the intensity of the electric field. In fact, if the electric field lines are very dense, very close together at some point, then that means the electric field intensity is large, or the electric field is very strong there. Okay. And if they are farther apart, okay, the density is low, what that means is the electric field is weak there. Okay. So we have this negative charge and positive charge. Electric field lines, these are the electric field lines around a negative charge and positive charge. Negative charge and positive charge, they attract each other. And here we see the electric field lines around two like charges, two positive charges here. Okay. So what are the properties? You would have also seen this in your +2 classes. So this is when we have two charges, positive and negative, and this is when we have two positive charges, two like charges, and for a single charge, these are the electric field lines. This is for a positive charge. For a negative charge, the electric field lines will be exactly same, with just one difference. The arrows will be pointing now towards the charge. Now it is pointing away from the charge. For the negative charge, it will be pointing towards the charge. That is the only difference. So these are the electric field lines. So what are the properties? Electric field lines originate on positive charge. They start from a positive charge and they diverge out from the positive charge and end on negative charge. Okay. And actually they converge on the negative charge. So they originate and diverges from the positive charge and end or converge on the negative charge. Okay. And they may also extend to infinity. Okay, if we have only a single positive charge, as the situation here. Here it originates from the positive charge, but it extends to infinity. Okay. So this is the first property. So originate on positive charge and end on negative charge, or extends to infinity. The number of field lines originating or terminating on a charge is proportional to the charge. That's proportional to the charge. So when we draw the electric field lines, we must take care that the number of field lines originating or terminating on a charge is proportional to the charge. So if I have a plus Q charge and if I draw the electric field lines such a way that say 5 lines are originating from the charge, then if I am representing the electric field around a plus 2 Q charge, it must have 10 lines originating from the charge. Okay, so when we draw the electric field lines, the number of field lines originating or terminating on a charge should be drawn in such a way that it is proportional to the charge. Another important idea is the electric field lines can never cross each other, or they can never intersect. Since if they cross at a point, what happens is the electric field at that point will have two directions. Okay, the electric field at that point will have two directions. That is not permitted. Electric field has unique direction at each point. Okay, why? Because we drew the electric field line in such a way that the tangent at any point gives the direction of the field. So if two field lines intersect, at that point we can draw two tangents. That means the electric field will have two directions at that point, which is absurd. Okay, which is not permitted, or which is not possible. Now another idea is the magnitude of the electric field is indicated by the density of the field lines. The magnitude of the field is indicated by the density of the field lines. How many lines? Density here means the number of field lines per unit area. Okay, number of field lines per unit area, where the area is perpendicular to the field lines. Okay. So the magnitude of the field is given by, indicated by the density of the field lines. Density is the number of field lines per unit area. Thus, the field is stronger when the field lines are very close together. Okay, if the lines are very close together, the density will be more. Density more means the field is stronger there. And field is weak when they are far apart. If the field lines are far apart, density will be less. That means the field is weak there. So number of field lines per unit area, that gives the strength or the magnitude of the field. Okay, which is also the density of the field lines, which is the number of field lines per unit area. And the important thing is the area has to be taken perpendicular to the field lines. Okay. So we have seen the electric field lines. Electric field lines are used for representing the electric field around charges. Then we have seen its properties. Okay, several properties are there that we have seen. Now we move on to the discussion on the flux. Okay, this thing also you would have studied in your lower classes. Okay, now in the model that we have seen, the field strength is proportional to the number of lines per unit area, or the density of the field lines. Okay. Okay, so we use that model, the magnitude of the field or the strength of the field, that is given by the density of the field lines. That is the number of field lines per unit area. And important thing is the area has to be considered perpendicular to the lines. So here we have several field lines, and we are considering an arbitrary surface, some surface S. So the flux through this surface, or flux of the electric field, that is actually proportional to the number of lines passing through that surface. Okay, it's actually, it can be also said to be the number of lines passing through that surface. Okay, why we are saying proportional is, when we represent a field, it is we that we decide how many lines should be used to represent the field. Okay, we can use 5 lines, 10 lines, 15 lines. The only thing is, when we represent the field, where the field is stronger, the number of field lines passing through unit area should be more. And the number of field lines passing through unit area should be less where the field is weak. Okay, actually the number of lines to represent a field, that is decided by that we decide. Okay, so that's why we say the flux of the electric field through any surface is proportional to the number of lines passing through that surface. Or some books or some places you can see that the flux is the number of lines passing through that surface. Both ways is correct. And it's given by integral surface E dot ds. Okay, integral, we are taking the integral of the E dot ds. And what is E dot ds? ds is a small area. Actually the surface can be divided into small area segments. Area of each that segment is ds. So E dot ds is what we are here taking the integral of E dot ds. E dot ds is E ds cos theta. So that is equal to E ds cos theta. Okay, dot ds is E ds cos theta. ds cos theta is ds perpendicular. Okay, ds cos theta, where ds perpendicular is the area perpendicular to the field lines. Okay, ds perpendicular, that is the area perpendicular to the field lines. So here we know, as we take this is ds, this ds is here, and we can see the ds vector that is perpendicular to that small area, and electric field line, electric field is along the electric field lines. So theta is the angle between electric field and the area vector, ds vector. So when you take ds cos theta, that will give you the component of the area along the field direction or perpendicular to the field. Okay, ds cos theta will give you the area perpendicular to the field line or to the field. Okay, so ds cos theta is ds perpendicular, that is ds area perpendicular to the field lines. Okay, so phi, the flux that is given by the number of lines proportional to number of lines passing through that surface, that is given by integral as E dot ds. So E dot ds gives us the number of lines passing through the ds or ds perpendicular or passing through ds perpendicular to the field. Okay, and integral surface means you are integrating over the entire area. Okay, you are integrating over the entire area. Now consider a point charge at the origin. Okay, we have now established that the flux, which is proportional to the number of field lines passing through a surface, that is given by integral surface, integration over that surface of the quantity E dot ds. So you have to take E dot ds everywhere on the surface. Okay, and then you have to sum it. That summation is represented by the integration. Now consider the point charge at the origin. Okay, we have point charge. Field is in radial direction, so electric field lines are there. We know how we represent the electric field around a point charge. And now what we are going to do is, we are calculating the flux of the electric field through a sphere of radius r. So we imagine a sphere of radius r around this positive charge, and we calculate the flux of the electric field. Okay, so that is integral E dot dA or integral E dot ds, whatever it is. Okay, here we have taken ds, here we are taking dA. So what is dA? dA is a small area considered on the spherical surface. Okay, and we are integrating over the entire spherical surface. So that is equal to 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square unit vector r. The electric field is, we know, 1 by 4 pi epsilon 0 q by r square unit vector r. And dA is the area vector. Now we are using the spherical polar coordinate system. Okay, we are using the spherical polar coordinate system that you would have studied. And an area element in spherical polar coordinate system is given by r square sine theta d theta d phi. Okay, r square sine theta d theta d phi unit vector, because everywhere on the surface of the sphere the area vector will be pointing radially outwards. So this is ds, that is given by r square sine theta d theta d phi. So this is q by 4 pi epsilon 0. R square you can cancel. Sine theta d theta d phi, integral 0 to 2 pi, equal 0 to pi, phi 0 to 2 pi, theta 0 to pi. So as we integrate phi, d phi is there. As you integrate, you will get 2 pi. Okay, integration with respect to d phi will give you 2 pi, and integration with respect to theta, integral sine theta d theta, where limits are from 0 to pi, that will give you minus cos theta. So we have this q by 4 pi epsilon 0, 2 pi into minus 2 pi into 2. Okay, 2 pi into 2. So what you are going to get is q by epsilon 0. So this r square will get cancelled. R square is there in this area element, r square is there, and this r square will get cancelled by this r square in the denominator. So what you are finally getting is q by epsilon 0. And what we have to note here is the radius gets cancelled. Okay, so you can imagine a sphere of any radius, because in the integration the radius does not come. So you can imagine a sphere of any radius. Okay, so you will be getting q by epsilon 0. So the electric field or the flux, we are calculating the flux that is given by q by epsilon 0, whatever be the radius of the sphere.